Alright, so this is going to be my team analysis for round 4 of the regionals. My opponent was Homerton's Finest, and he's running Azumarill, Bastiodon, Haunter, Skarmory, Whiscash and Medicham. So obviously you see he's got Haunter and Azumarill, so I'm going to say no to Medicham. And then I see that he's got both Whiscash and Medicham, so my rule of bringing Melmetal is kind of based on what I said earlier. I shouldn't bring it, but I actually decide to bring it because I realized that my Venusaur was such a huge threat to Whiscash that in his team analysis he's probably thinking I'm going to use my Whiscash as long as he's not got a Venusaur or Tropius on his team. But obviously I have a Venusaur, so and I'm going to bring it in this match as well. So just in case he thinks about either using it this match, or maybe if he doesn't use it in this match and sees that I'm not using Venusaur, then he might bring it in the second match, and that's not what I want because it will cause problems for my team. So I go with the same Melmetal lead as I always do, and then I'm running Venusaur and Azumarill in the back. This was my favourite trio, and I ran this team for pretty much all my games, apart from one of the earlier games and then also the last 2 rounds as well. I switched it up because neither of my opponents were running a ghost type, so I could actually utilize my Medicham. But yeah, I don't really need to go into much more detail in my team for this match. So I actually forgot to record the first match. I led with Melmetal, and I think he led with Haunter, and it was pretty much exactly the same as the second match of round 2 that you've already seen, or you've probably already seen. So I get off my Rock Slide after his Shadow Punch, and then I get off a second Rock Slide and I KO it before he can get off a second charge attack, so he wasted 1 shield. I can't remember too much now because at the point of recording this it was like nearly a month ago, so yeah, I don't remember the exact specifics of the rest of the match, but I remember that I won quite convincingly, and I then stupidly talked to him about my strategy for a Melmetal lead, and obviously I decided that he was gonna come in with a Medicham to just hard counter that lead, so I didn't want to lead with Azumarill. I wanted to mix it up and try lead with Venusaur. The thing with Venusaur is that Raise Leaf does such a large amount of damage that regardless of how many shields he's got, I'm going to do a lot of damage to his Medicham, and that's because players like to use their shields on Medicham because they want to keep it alive. If I can do a lot of damage without having to get off my charge attacks, then that's going to be quite beneficial. So I decided to lead with Venusaur in the second round, and we'll go into that second match now. Alright, so my prediction was right, he does lead with Medicham, and so the thing about this match is it's heavily dependent on when I shield as to how the matchup goes. So he hits me with a power-up punch, and that's not going to do very much to me, and I don't shield it. He was trying to fake out an ice punch because that would have done quite a lot of damage to me, but I know that an ice punch from a non-powered up Medicham isn't going to KO me anyway, so I'm not even bothered. I get off the Frenzy Plant and he has to shield it, otherwise he's going down. And now he does get off a nice punch, but I'm okay with that because I've taken down most of his health and I've burnt one of his shields. And now I can switch into my counter, and whatever he throws at me, I'm just going to soak it all up. And I'm going to aim to take it down with just bubbles, and that's what I do. So Azumarill's not going to have a too difficult a time against anything that he brings in, other than maybe Bastiodon, just because I don't have the right charge move to deal with it, and actually he does bring in a Bastiodon. So I'm in a bit of trouble because my usual answer to Bastiodon when I wasn't running Medicham was a Venusaur, and obviously I've just let my Venusaur faint. And so actually I know that my bubbles are super effective against Bastiodon, whereas both of my charge attacks are resisted. So I was just hoping that he would get off a charge attack and then I would be able to switch to my Melmetal and just get off faster non-resisted charge attacks. But he took ages to get off his charge attack, so I had to shield anyway, and now I have to shield this because it's going to be a flamethrower and it's going to do a lot of damage to me. But what I love about Melmetal is how quickly it charges up. See, I overcharge here, and I think it actually works to my advantage because so he shields this one, and I think he should probably be getting to a flamethrower around about the same time I get to my Thunderbolt. I'm thinking that because I overcharged, he thought he had a little bit more time, so he was just charging up a little bit more. And now he's down to his last Pokemon, Skarmory, with no shields. I know that one Thunderbolt won't KO, so I just go for a Rock Slide first. Take him down to nearly half health. He gets off a Sky Attack, and that's not going to do that much to me. And now I can just get off my next Thunderbolt, and that's going to be the end of the match. So, well played.